Hey everyone, so Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is back on the spotlight again. Season 2 gave us a few new characters, new updates, and yeah, that trailer. You know the one. Let's just say SNK made some interesting choices there. But controversy aside, the important thing is this. The game is alive, the roster is growing, and just like before, we're already looking ahead to what comes next. Season 2 filled in a lot of gaps, brought back some big names, and even surprised us in a few ways. But as always, there are still plenty of characters waiting for their shot. So once again, it's time to look to the future. These are my top 10 picks for Season 3 DLC characters in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Number 10. Fallen Rock. Last time I treated him as a freebie, basically a bonus pick because he was a secret boss. But SNK treated Gizhauer as a full DLC character, so it makes sense to think of Fallen Rock the same way. Even though he's a reworked version of Rockhauer, he's mechanically distinct enough to deserve his own slot. Fully consumed by the power of the Jin Scrolls and his father's dark legacy, he fuses the best of Giz, Rock, and even the Jin brothers. With his Crimson Hakama and hybrid moveset, he is far too cool to remain just a hidden arcade challenge. That said, since he's essentially a tweak of an existing fighter and already in the game, I can't justify putting him any higher than number 10. Number 9. Chang Xinzan. Yeah, he's back in my list. I know, not everyone's favorite character, but I like him, alright? Chang is loud, gritty, and totally over the top. Every fighting game needs a weirdo, and Chang was always one of my favorites. He's a really unorthodox fighter with stubby moves, a weird arcing projectile, and ridiculous options like rolling across the screen or flying in with belly splashes that make him completely unpredictable. Chang will totally bring comic relief and a whole new kind of rhythm to the cast. Plus, he's from Taiwan, not a lot of those walking around. So, if it was up to me, you can bet your asses would see Chang's peculiar silhouette return for Season 3. Number 8. Freeman. Next up is one of the most unsettling characters in the Fatal Fury universe, Freeman. He's a serial killer who seeks out fights for the pure thrill of it. His fighting style combines slashing hand techniques with contortion-like movements that feel more like horror move menace than traditional martial arts. Freeman lives for bloodshed and chaos, and he's one of the last Mark of the Wolves characters still missing from the playable lineup, with the exception of Grant, who City of the Wolves already acknowledges through the presence of Fox Ripper. Between his disturbing presence, unpredictable moveset, and the closure he brings to the Mark of the Wolves representation, Freeman is exactly the kind of wild card that makes the next season feel complete. Number 7. Kasumi Todo. Yeah, she's also back in my list, this time one spot ahead of her original position. Easily the best character introduced in Art of Fighting 3, Kasumi went on to have a long career in the KOF franchise, unlike everyone else from her original game. She represents the Todoryu Aikijutsu, a martial art that blends Kendo, Kobudo, and Aikido, relying heavily on counter grabs, which will be pretty interesting to balance out the aggressive nature of a good chunk of the cast. Although Kasumi was very young in Art of Fighting 3, her fighting style never leaned into youth or cutesy gimmicks, so an older Kasumi could still feel very familiar, making the time gap negligible. Besides, she's another bridge to the Art of Fighting franchise, something that, as you might have noticed, I'm very much in favor of. Number 6. Tung Fu. This guy just barely missed the cut in my previous video, but you guys made it clear in the comment section he deserves a spot. And you know what? I agree. Tung Fu is a Hong Kong detective with a mix of determination, charm, and a touch of goofiness. That classic Jackie Chan energy that makes him unforgettable. He's a skilled master of Kung Fu and the Nunchaku, but what really defines him is his endearing personality. He's also a perfect foil to Yuji Yamazaki, who I may or may not also have on this list. Wink wink. Bringing back that dynamic Fatal Fury fans came to love. Number 5. Rick Strowd. Rick is someone I've been asking for in City of the Wolves since day one. He's a boxer, a style that SNK traditionally handles well, but one that is still missing here, unless some of the new characters fill that niche. Not only that, but Rick is also Native American, has a cool and recognizable design, and never really got his time to shine outside Real Bout 2. So given the demand for at least one of the classic Fatal Fury boxers to return, like Michael Max or Axel Hawk, my choice in this regard is for Rick to finally be given a second chance. Though to be honest, I wouldn't mind too much if one of the others got picked, I kinda like them all. Number 4. Yuji Yamazaki. Oh my god, what a surprise! Yamazaki is here! Easily one of the coolest evil characters in fighting games. I was honestly shocked he didn't make the base roster, let alone be waiting this long for a chance to come as a DLC character. Violent, unpredictable, and oozing chaos, Yamazaki's psycho energy and unhinged behavior make him perfect to show off the darker side of Southtown. Plus, you gotta love that annoying counter where he dares you to hit him. Number 3. Tung Fu. The old master returns to my list, this time with a bump to enter the top 3. Tung is one of the oldest characters in the franchise, both in terms of lore and release date. He trained both Geese Howard and Jeff Bogart, Terry and Andy's father, which gives him major story potential. Sure, he would be even older by the time City of Wolves takes place, but he's always had a unique design that fits that archetype. His transforming dual-style gameplay, shifting into a buff Kung Fu master form, is also very distinct. In fact, those transformations even made it into Street Fighter VI via NPC enemies in World Tour. Between nostalgia, cool mechanics, and the niche the current roster lacks, Tung is now one of my top picks for the next season. Number 2. Mr. Karate 2, aka Ryo Sakazaki. Let's be honest, Mr. Karate isn't the most original playstyle pick. His style overlaps with Marco Rodriguez, and with Ken Masters in the game, there's not that much room left for another Kyokugen Ryu karate artist. But we have to make an exception here. Ryo Sakazaki is the face of art of fighting and one of the first characters to ever cross over in a fighting game, appearing as a secret fighter in Fatal Fury Special. That appearance wasn't canon because of timeline issues, but Fatal Fury Wild Ambition fixed that by aging him up and giving him the Mr. Karate title, an approach I think they should repeat. There is still some risk of overlap, but SNK can tweak their arsenal and make him feel fresh. And let's be real, fighting game fans rarely reject similar characters if they're fun to play. Number 1. Duck King. And now at number 1 we've got someone who didn't make my previous list, and judging by the comments, that was a mistake. By a huge margin, Duck King was the most requested addition, so not only does he make the cut this time, he goes straight to the top. One of Fatal Fury's most iconic characters, Duck King is a DJ, street dancer, and all-around party guy. He blends breakdance inspired moves with acrobatic martial arts, from headspin attacks to breakstorms, giving him a flashy and unpredictable presence that fits perfectly in City of the Wolves. But more than that, it's his personality that makes him stand out. Fun, energetic, and unapologetically himself, often accompanied by his pet chicken, Pichan. Duck King is a classic roster piece that completes City of the Wolves like few others can. So just like I said about Blue Mary last time, if SNK hears only one thing from this video, let it be this: it's time to bring Duck King back. But before we wrap things up, I want to throw in one more bonus pick: Kage Wolf. He shows up as the last boss in episodes of Southtown, basically this game's version of World Tour. Kage Wolf is an evil clone of Terry Bogard, influenced by Psycho Power and even tapping into the Satsui no Hado. And we all know how popular evil versions of main characters are. The idea actually came from a stream. Someone asked me if we could unlock him after beating him, and you know what? We totally should! Bring back that old school style of expanding the roster. A cross-promotion character like this is the perfect opportunity to do that. Maybe not in ranked matches, unless he's balanced like one of those Glassjaw type of characters, but in some way, shape or form, it would be pretty cool to get access to him. However, given that Kage Wolf is literally just a reskin of Terry Bogard, locking him behind paid DLC would be kind of a dick move. That's why I'm listing him as a special mention instead of an entry on this list. Whoever gets chosen, Kage Wolf should be a free bonus for the next season. But anyways, those are my top picks for Season 3. At this point the roster is really starting to come together, but there are still a few key pieces missing, and I think this list covers most of them. Now I want to hear from you. Who did I miss? Who would you bring in for the next season? For now, this has been Cammyplayer, and I'll see you guys later.